Welcome back to Golf Extra. The new golf landscape is seemingly teeming with opportunities for players to make more money than they ever dreamed possible. From LIV Golf's exorbitant payouts to the PGA Tour's new incentives and ways for players to make money, all of the ingredients are there for a skilled player to create generational wealth for himself. However, the opportunities don't come without at least a little bit of risk. In fact, there are some financial penalties associated with these new opportunities that you probably didn't even know existed. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Now let's get right into some examples of those previously unknown financial penalties. When the PGA Tour introduced the Player Impact Program back in 2021, it was regarded by many as a direct response to the potential lure of a Saudi-backed golf organization which could strip the PGA Tour of their top talent. Of course, that organization would come to fruition in the form of LIV Golf. But let's focus on the PIP for now. The PIP is essentially a $40 million fund which is intended to be paid out to the top 10 finishers within a certain number of categories. What those categories are, though, is not what you might expect. The rankings are based off of 5 things: Google searches, meltwater mentions, more simply overall media mentions, social media reach, amount of time featured on the television broadcast of PGA Tour events, and the Q score, which measures familiarity and appeal. Not all golfers were on board with this initiative at first, though, with one anonymous player saying, "Most players feel it is a shoe-in money grab for only those at the top, and it's extremely hard to break into that category if not already in it. For example, the same people are always on TV, including the same names always on PGA Tour Live, which the tour chooses who gets on that. Also, the top guys are invariably the ones with the most social media followers, and that results in more money for this plan. The overriding thought is why not do something to help all of the players? The FedEx Cup already takes care of the top." That player makes good points. The Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroys of the world will always be competitors for this money, even when they're not playing well. There is a catch, though. Even these superstar players are required to appear in certain designated events, which are typically the tour's most coveted events of the season. If they miss 2 or more of them per year, players begin forfeiting increasing amounts of their PIP earnings. Who would ever give up millions of dollars to just not play golf in a golf tournament? Well, we're looking at you, Rory. After a disappointing finish in the 2023 Masters tournament, Rory opted not to participate in the RBC Heritage, one of the designated events under the PIP, in order to try and reset his mental state. This was a costly decision, as it was Rory's second missed designated event of the season, after he previously didn't participate in the Century Tournament of Champions at Kapalua. As a result, he was docked 25% of his $12 million PIP earnings, a stunning $3 million. Golf fans were stunned by this, but PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan quickly affirmed that this pay reduction would in fact occur, saying, "When we made the commitment to this schedule with the Player Impact Program, we adjusted for one opt-out. For any second opt-out, you would forfeit to 25% unless there was a medical issue. Based on that criteria, it's actually fairly cut and dried." He continued, "So in terms of precedent, in any situation like that, we're going to look at the criteria against the situation at hand and make a decision. There's nothing really unusual about that." Monahan finished his comments by saying he knew the consequences of that. First of all, players should be able to make a decision not to play. That's the beauty of our model. But he knows the consequences of that based on that criteria, and that's our position. As far as why McIlroy would knowingly and willingly miss out on $3 million, he gave a measured and respectable answer, saying, "I've always thought I've had a good handle on the perspective on things and sort of where golf fits within my life and trying to find purpose outside of golf in some way. But I think over the last 12 months, I sort of lost sight of that. I'd lost sight of the fact that there's more to life than the golf world and this little silly squabble that's going on between tours and all sorts of stuff. So I think I just gained a little bit of perspective, and once I sort of disconnected from it a little bit, I could see things a little clearer and sort of where everything fits within my life. It was a good reset. Hopefully it was worth $3 million, Rory. Given his profile, I'm sure he can make it up somehow." But what do other PGA Tour players think about the penalty, given that they're liable to fall under the same decision someday? Outspoken fan favorite Joel Dahman commented on the matter, saying, "I feel like Rory was leading the charge on the changes that have been made, and he helped make the rules. He knew what the rules were, so he knew it was coming. He also has so much money he doesn't care about $3 million. Fellow superstar Justin Thomas didn't quite agree with Dahmen, saying, "It doesn't matter who you are, that's a ton of money. All of us knew going into the year what the situation was and what we had to do to get extra X or Y, and for him, Y is a lot in this situation, finishing second in the PIP rankings. So it wasn't a surprise to him or any of us. It was just kind of where he ended up in the rankings, and not playing this week is, I guess, a consequence." Meanwhile, Xander Schauffele commented on the irony of McIlroy being penalized given Rory's large role in the formation of the PIP, saying, "Rules are the rules. So, I mean, for the most part, a lot of what he wanted is what's happening, and the irony is that he's not here." Schauffele continued, "It's a lot of money. It's a big deal. A lot of people want to know what's going on." Ricky Fowler weighed in as well, speaking on the need for transparency as the PIP becomes more prevalent, saying, "I think that's a big thing that's been talked about for the last year, is having more transparency and just good communication between players on the tour. I think that includes you, the media, as well. And ultimately, the more transparency and the more everyone's on the same page, the better." Fowler is right about transparency, because without these public declarations, it's possible that even us golf fans may not have been aware of the ramifications of McIlroy's decision. LIV golfers might have been watching from the sidelines with smirks on their faces as McIlroy's wallet got a little thinner, but they're not exempt from potential penalties. Even as the war between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf appears to be drawing to some type of conclusion, there are still new facts about the contracts of LIV players coming out. One of the most eyebrow-raising aspects of the contracts is that the players are not allowed to break their LIV agreements unless they agree to pay multiple times the value of their initial signing bonus. A bombshell Sports Illustrated report on the subject elaborated, reading, "LIV Golf maintains that some of its players still want to play on the PGA Tour. But with the exception of playing a one-off event in a player's hometown or somewhere they have had success, many LIV golfers seem content to play their 14-plus majors and call it a season. None want to play a full season on the PGA Tour, which is good because their LIV contracts, while not prohibiting them from playing a full schedule on another tour, does force them to honor their commitment to LIV, and if for some reason they wanted to leave LIV, the penalty clause is 2, 3, or 4 times their signing bonus to break their agreement. This penalty clause effectively keeps the players part of the LIV stable until the contract expires after the 2025 season. Talk about a restrictive contract. As of now, no LIV players have publicly voiced their desire to leave LIV for the friendly confines of the PGA Tour. But rest assured that if any of them do, the Saudi backers of LIV will come to collect. We're looking at you, Brooks Koepka. Comment with your thoughts and make sure to subscribe for more content like this. We'll catch you in the next one.